Okay, everyone, we're here live, and it's going to be a while before some people catch on and find out that I'm here. I'm going to be starting something different with this particular live feed that I'm doing, and I'll explain that as more people come aboard. Um, I'm probably going to start saving a lot of these live videos now, and I'm going to try not to let them go more than an hour. So, if they go an hour, 10 minutes, something like that, won't be very long. Well, I see there's 15 people apparently watching this now, so that's pretty good. If that's accurate, I don't know. Out of the 15 people, we've only had 3 or 4 of you. If you're a person watching, type in a question about anything. Doesn't have to be Beatles related, doesn't have to be music related. Just say hi, you're here. If you're a fan, if you've watched my videos before, whatever it is. Nothing wrong with just saying hello. Um, do I have a favorite '80s band? Okay, John, that's a good question. Well, I like Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and they pretty much qualify as an '80s band, so I would put them up there. Um, that's it. When I think '80s band, I don't know if I would want to count Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah, well, definitely would count them. They pretty much started in the '70s, so Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. You know, Blondie. They carried into the '80s, but that's pushing it. Same thing for the Cars. Like the Cars, but they were pretty much late '70s. So now we got the train, folks. We got the train passing by too. So this is just not too embarrassing. But I mean, it didn't bother me much at all when I was just doing general live chats that are not going to be saved. But if I'm going to save them, this is pretty ridiculous. It's a ridiculous place I live in, folks. Uh, I hope to get out of here someday, but that's not going to be for a long time. In fact, I'm just about to sign a lease for my girlfriend and I that we're both doing it to stay here for another year. So we have to do that. We don't have the money. We don't have the anything right now to really do it. So that's not going to be for a while. It could be years. Uh, yeah, probably not. Um, do I have a lot of Beatles posters and memorabilia that I'm not able to put out because of a lack of room, or do I have most of it displayed? Well, I'd say right now most of it's displayed, but I do have a lot also in the closet. You know, so to be honest with you, Josh, it's not as bad as I thought as far as that goes, but it's very reduced wall space. Of course, in addition to what you can see here, I have a wall here in front of me that you can't see that has stuff. Unless sometimes I have videos where I did a room tour. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you want to do a tour, a Beatles room tour, you look that up and you'll see. But I've changed it anyway since then. I've got some other stuff here, and I got a wall, like a sort of space over here. It's not much space. And the reason for that mainly is because I got these bookcases here. If these bookcases weren't here, obviously there'd be a lot more wall space. But it's a real frustration with me, and it's one of my dreams to get rent a house. We have to rent. If we could ever rent a house so we can have more space, I'd like to have a much bigger, spare bedroom. In fact, I'd like to have 2 rooms, but we're not rich. We're not, like my girlfriend and I, we're both just working stiffs, and we don't have a lot of money. We just make it pretty much paycheck to paycheck, and that kind of thing. So, oh, thank you, Josh. You've watched every one of my videos? Wow. How did you manage that, if I can ask? Have you been around for a long time, Josh, or did you just start watching fairly recently, or what? I don't really remember. I've seen your name around a lot, but I'm not sure. And I, also want to know from that, how if you do, how you manage to see every one, because I used to have them numbered. That's the reason I numbered them. always figured that if they're numbered, they're easier to find. And there's a guy that I'm currently watching, and I'll tell you who he is. I mean, he's a comedian, and he's from around Long Island, and his name is Vic DiBettetto. I don't know if you know him. He was in Mall Cop 2, but basically, he's a very funny guy. At least to me, he's a very funny guy. He reminds me of myself in a lot of ways. The way he does a lot of rants and things that tick him off. Wow, really, Josh? You say you found me when I had only 3 videos, and you subscribed and you just watch every time that I post. Thanks very much, my friend. That's very, very nice of you. Hi, Connor's here, 2003 C-Pain. But I want to get back to what I was saying about Vic DiBettetto. If you look him up, he has a series, a lot of things he does, but he has a series called, when he gets pissed off, called Ticked Off Vic. And he gets ticked off. You know what ticks me off? And it's funny, I was going to start my own rant channel. In fact, I made a rant video this morning, and it's taken me a while to decide if I'm going to start this rant channel or not. It's going to be another channel all about negativity and screaming and complaining about everything that stinks today and stuff like that. It's not me trying to copy Vic DiBettetto, okay? Even if there was never a Vic DiBettetto, I would be doing that. But I figure he does it so well. He's a professional comedian, but I was thinking of doing that. And you know, I don't know, you know, when I'm going to do that. I was spending a lot of time today. First, I want to get just the right name for the channel. I thought of all kinds of ideas. And we'll see if that happens or not, but I'm not so sure that I want to make a channel whereby everybody thinks I'm nothing more than a sourpuss who bitches and complains and moans and raves and rants all the time. Yeah, my day today was okay. Connor, I just want to say, if you got here late, you know, I have something new here that I'm trying to do. I'm going to not totally stop, but maybe I'll still do what I call free-for-all live, anything goes bullshit sessions. But now I'm trying to do a formal Q&A. I'm going to try to go no more with these than an hour. An hour is with the target I'm looking for. An hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, depending on how things are going. And instead of them just being everybody getting together, having a party and goofing around, which I'm sure a lot of people want to do, I would do a formal Q&A like they usually do. Give my fans a chance to talk and get in touch. But it's usually the same people, and that's fine. But I'm hoping to draw in some new viewers who've never done this before, too. You know? And then the idea is that I will try to save, if not every single one of them, I'm going to try to save most of them as archive videos. And I'll number them, you know. I haven't thought of a title yet for this. Right now I'm calling it Q&A number 1, Q&A number 2. Eventually I'll come up with a title, Mayo, this or that, you know, something. I'll think of a title for it. But whether or not a certain discussion video, Q&A video like this is going to be archived or not, and chronicled, is going to be dependent on how it goes. If I find it like I'm doing right now, I'm just winging it, I'm just blabbing on because nobody's asking questions, and I don't think it's that good, I won't save it. Like so far, this one, and I mean this with no disrespect to anybody. I appreciate everybody so far that's been trying to ask questions, trying to keep this thing hopping. But right now, this is probably one that I'm going to, if not discard, probably going to at least discard. I'm on 27 minutes already. Not much has been done. Half of it's over already. But I probably, if not the whole thing, then at least the first 15, 20 minutes or so, I would cut off of this. Depending on how it goes. If things don't start, getting good for like an hour, I'll cut the first hour off. I don't know. Maybe I have to schedule these. Maybe that's another thing. I might even think of a special time to do this. When was the last time I drank Coca-Cola? I'll be honest with you, Connor, today. Was it today? Yeah, today. I say that because I'm trying to get off soda. Well, it's very easy to get. Believe me, I could go months, and I've gone years without soda, and months I can do it. But once you get a taste of it, you start, like any drug, you start getting into it. So I kind of went off the wagon again with that, And I started really good the first 3 days of November, changing my lifestyle habits with that kind of thing. And I changed the habits for the first 3 days of November. I was doing really good. I already, within the first 3 days, I lost a couple of pounds, probably, water weight or whatever. And then the last 3 days, I've just been going, and anything goes again. So it'll happen. It's not going to happen by itself. I know how to do it. I've done it before. But I haven't been the weight I want to be since well before I started making videos on YouTube. So it's been over 5 years. So yeah, soda besides being, very caloric, is also bad for you. So besides being bad for you, it's just garbage. It's garbage besides the fact that it's fattening and whatever. So, but yeah, a little disappointed right now in the way this chat's going. And again, I mean, this is fun with the Coca-Cola. I'm going to mention again for anybody who's just came on. I got to admit, I find myself much more, I don't want to say tense because I'm not really tense, but I'm very much more concerned if these don't go well, because I want to save them. I mean, good for you. You haven't had soda in nearly a year. Good, that's good for you, O'Connor. Well done. So, I feel like, gee, I have to be entertaining. If this is going to be a video, after this is finished, it's going to stay as an archived video. Who the hell's going to want to watch an hour of me just fluffing around and nothing really happening? So that's how that goes. But I still don't understand how there's like 15 people watching and everybody's too afraid to say anything. Again, I'll just try to encourage you out there. If you're a person who, at least somebody who's watched my videos for a long time, come on and say hello. Tell me, how long you've been watching or whatever. How often do I play records? Not often at all, Josh. And do I go through gaps where you're buying and not playing? A lot. A lot. It's not something I really like to say, but it's the truth. I play mostly CDs. Well, we've got Dallas Pez on here, and thank you very much, Dallas, for asking, well, what's my favorite Friday the 13th film? And I appreciate anybody out there asking questions other than Beatles, or music. There are two that are my favorite. One of them is Friday the 13th, the final chapter, the fourth one in the series. And the other one is the sixth one in the series, Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, part 6. I think that they're really the best horror movies of the bunch. Well, other than the original. A lot of people want to say the original, the first movie, but without me revealing any spoilers for anybody on here who's listening who could possibly want to see these, there's something different about the first film that, kind of ruins it for me in a little way, but that's different. River Wilson asked me, what are my thoughts on drug-influenced music and artists we lost too soon? Well, terrible thing. I'll never understand drug use. I've never taken drugs. Well, I mean, I've had to take some medicines here and there, and even those I don't like to take. I'm the type of guy that doesn't even like taking an aspirin. I don't even like eating sugar and Coca-Cola, but hard drugs and things like that, I don't get it. I lost my younger sister because she got hooked on drugs, and she died in 2011. But she got addicted to mostly painkillers and things like that. She had back problems and this that. So anyway, I don't mean to go. I'll bringing that up in these chats from time to time, but what do I think of drug influenced music and artists? Yeah, any of them. I feel it's terrible that any of them died. But I tell you, I have a feeling that a lot of people might not like. But if I'm going to be totally honest, and the same thing I applied to my sister, and I was consistent when my sister died because I've always had this. It's that you want to play, you're going to pay. That's what you want. Buy. That kind of thing. So I miss my sister dearly, and I'm sad to have lost her. But I did, even when she passed in 2011, I did also have that thing. Hey, look, I don't care. If you want to play games, you want to take drugs, you just may die. You have a death wish. I hope you catch it in time. And that's why I love Ringo. One of the many reasons I love Ringo Starr. Ringo was a drunk, and he abused and he did drugs and booze and everything, and he cleaned himself up. And next year will be 30 years. Ringo's clean. I have nothing but respect for people in the business who have cleaned up their act, and that includes like Ringo Starr. It also includes like Robert Downey Jr., for example, is a good example of somebody. But then you have people who didn't make it, and I'm thinking of actors too, like Philip Seymour Hoffman, as far as actors, like people that were just too stupid to stop. What's my most underrated I Love Lucy episode? That's I'm very grateful to have an I Love Lucy question because I love the show, but I don't think there's any episodes of I Love Lucy that get rated poorly that I think are better than what their ratings are. So I can't even answer that. What do I like? Bitches Brew by Miles Davis. I'm not a fan of Miles Davis. I said recently that I wasn't a fan of hip hop either. So I'm doing really well here with that. But no, I'm not a fan of Miles Davis. I don't like jazz. I don't like that kind of jazz. Improv jazz, free jazz. I don't know if that's what it is. I hear a lot of it at my record store because the young guy Corey loves jazz and he plays everything. I've heard enough Miles Davis to last me a lifetime, and I'm just not a fan. I know he's one of the greats, but it doesn't do it for me. The only jazz I really like are early jazz, like big band type of music. Big band, more structured stuff together. Harry James, Benny Goodman, that type of stuff. Dallas Pez has said he's been trying to get into the Friday the 13th film. He's always been a Freddy Krueger fan and never checked out the Jason ones. Well, I don't like Freddy Krueger because he's a clown. I mean, some of them are good. I like the first Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, and I also like Dream Warriors, which I think is the third one. Those three I like, and Freddy's funny in that one too. But he keeps it at him. Uses it well, the comedy in that. So if you've never seen any of the Friday the 13th, I think you really got to see them from the beginning, to tell you the truth. I didn't know. I thought maybe you were a fan, Dallas, and you had already seen them. I wanted to know my opinion of which I like the best. But if you haven't seen them, you got to start with the first one and go then the second. I would at least recommend the first four. If you like the first four enough, then continue. It says, a Michael Jackson fanatic asks me, is there an autograph-seeking story that's as good as the Paul McCartney time with any other star? There's two I'll mention. One of them is Woody Allen. I'm a fan of Woody Allen, and I really wanted to get his autograph one time. And I remember once I think it was a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, I took a train. I went all the way into Manhattan. I found out what his address was, so my idea was I was going to kind of hang around across the street or just watch for when he'd come out. And it was a beautiful sunny day, so I decided to get out of the cab. I took a cab, and I got out early, and I was going to walk. I had to walk like 10 or 15 long city blocks to get to his apartment. But I decided it's such a beautiful day, I'll just go for a stroll. I was going to take the cab there, but I decided to walk. And no sooner did I get out of the cab and started walking on beautiful East Side, it's like 9 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday morning in the city. Sun is out bright, beautiful day. Nobody but me. It seems like everybody's dead. You know, I'm the last man on earth. All of a sudden, in the distance, I see two figures walking towards me, a little smaller, getting bigger. Turned out to be Woody Allen and his, I guess, wife now, right? Soon Yi. This was 1994 in October 94. And as we got closer, as we were walking, Woody Allen, I started reaching for a clipboard. I had a photo, and he saw that I was approaching, and he has this kind of like floppy hat. He put it on. He kind of put it over his head, and kind of like tried to turn the corner, like he was gonna cross the street. But I kind of got up my nerve, and I went up to him and I said, "Oh, Mr. Allen," I said, "Hello, may I have your autograph, please?" And then he acted like he wasn't trying to avoid me. He's like, "Oh, sure," and he signed it. He was very nice. And I know he was doing a movie at the time, and the reports were that he was doing the movie was having a lot of cinematic difficulties filming. So I just said to him, "Good luck with the movie, by the way." And he looked and said, "Oh, thank you very much." And then very pleasant, and that was it. I was just happy with that. And there's also a great story where, I don't want to spend all the time, and now I'm getting a lot of questions. I'll go back to them. But there was, so you can just wait a minute before asking me any more questions from this point. I don't want to miss them all. There was another time with Charlton Heston. Always been a big Charlton Heston fan, and first time I ever got to meet him was in 1990, and I was again in New York City at the NBC building, and I had called up on the phone a day in advance. He was going to do an early morning talk show on the Today Show. I said, "Is Charlton Heston going to be there live?" I called up the day before, and the woman said, "No, he's going to be on tape." I don't know why I bothered. They never tell you the truth anyway. I knew they were probably lying to me. So I went anyway. I went down there, and I can't describe it, but I'll try to make it quick as I can. There was an elevator bank, and the elevator was in the middle, and there was one side here and one side there. I decided to wait on this side, kind of hiding up from the elevator. And I waited there for about an hour. He never showed up, so I finally said, "Well, I got to make a phone call." In those days, they didn't have cell phones. We had pay phones, so the pay phone was on the other side, and I walked across the elevator bank and stood on the opposite side, picked up a telephone, made my call, hung it up, and then I turned around. Just as I'm turning, there goes Moses himself, Ben-Hur, Taylor from Planet of the Apes, all these movies I worshipped and revered. He comes larger than life, coming down the steps, and I just went up to him, and I said, again, I said, "Mr. Heston," I said, "A pleasure to meet you." My shake, he reached right out, shook my hand, that strong hand, and it was such a thrill. I asked him if I may have his autograph. He said certainly, and I had a photo from Planet of the Apes, beneath the Planet of the Apes, actually. He signed the photo, and then I loved that he looked up to me and said, and what's your name? He asked me for my name. I thought that was cool. And I told him, and he made it out personally to me, and he walked away with that, that strong wave hand. And the thing I liked about the story is that if I had stayed on this side even 5 minutes longer, I would have missed him, because he walked out and went around this side. So I would never have seen him. Just by the chance that I gave up and decided to go and make a phone call is why I caught him coming around that side. So those are two stories. Thanks. It was a good question. What's the most underrated Tom Petty hit? Meaning that you don't hear much about them anymore. Oh, I don't know. Jammin' Me. I really like Jammin' Me, but I don't hear that much. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Yes, Dallas Pez, going back to Friday the 13th, he says they do get ridiculous near the end of that series. He's only seen the remake of Friday the 13th and Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know what to say. At least try 1 and 2. What you do is you watch the first one and the second one. Watch those two, because they're different in some way. I don't want to tell you unless you know. You probably know. And if you like that, then go to 3 and 4. After that, it gets weird. Although I do love 6, if that makes any sense. 4 and 6 are my favorite. A Hellraiser reboot. You know, I saw the original Hellraiser. It's been a long time. I do like the original Hellraiser, but the sequels that I saw were too way out, and I didn't think much of them. Um, I don't remember you, Josh, telling me that you work on movies for a living. If you did, I don't remember. Sorry, but that's good. That's very good to know. Alan C. Records. Hi, thanks for joining us. Miguel Oliveria, sorry if I can't pronounce your name right, asked me what's my thoughts about vinyl prices these days. Well, new vinyl is ridiculous. I mean, newly pressed vinyl, which is inferior. It's garbage compared to old or classic vinyl. To me, a newly pressed vinyl a lot of times right out of the package sounds like garbage. I hear pops, I hear more crackle and stuff. And then sometimes I hear it. Not some of them are not bad. I'm not going to say every one of them, but is bad. But too many of the new vinyl records that I hear right out of the package are pretty poor. And the prices are insane considering that, you know. So, you know, I mean, $30 something for a single record sometimes, I think, or at least 30. And, you know, as far as used records go, I mean, used records depend on where you get them. I think that, you know, the store I go to a lot, you know, does pretty well with their used vinyl. Hello to Gold Rag. Cheers. For those of you just joining me, I'm starting a routine now where I'm going to try to do this routine. I'm going to try to keep these chats to no more than an hour. Maybe from now on, an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, around that 60, 70 minutes. I'm going to try not to go longer than that. And if they go well enough, every time one goes well enough, I'm going to archive it and save it so you can replay it if you want. That's going to be my new thing. A lot of people like to talk about as you know, this famous green cup. This is or yellow. Some people call it yellow. Trust me, this is a green yellow green, but it's mostly like a lime green cup. This is not yellow. I don't know if you're colorblind or not, but it's not yellow. And I wish I had something yellow right here. I do. Hold on. This is yellow. This is green. Can you see the difference at all from where you are? Well, this is kind of close to this. Maybe that's a bad example. But it's freaking green. Trust me on that. Anyway. New Q&As. Well, I'm calling these Q&As. But you know, I don't know what I'm going to call them. I think I'm going to come up with a name, a general name. You know. But I haven't decided what that name is going to be yet. Yeah, $35 for those McCartney colored reissues. That's just too much. $20, okay. $35, no. Alan C. Records put up a video today on the alternate yesterday and today album cover. Cool. I'll try to remember this. There's a lot of things to check out. John Brentford says, keep looking for those old German and Japanese pressings. And yep, especially the German ones I'm interested in. 2003 C. Payne asked me, do I think I'll be more reserved on these? Yeah, I think I'm going to be. I'm going to try to be. And I know people are not going to like that. A lot of people are going to say, oh man, what's the fun, you know? But I'm not going to be totally reserved. Like, I feel like getting crazy, I'm going to get crazy. If I get pissed off, whatever it is, I'll do it. But because I know these are going to be archived, a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but, you know, a lot of them, I'm going to try to make them better and this and that. But I also should say, this doesn't mean it's going to be an end to what I call the crazy free-for-all parties we had either. I'm going to do those too. sometimes they'll just be, I don't know what I'm going to call them. I'm going to think of titles for these things. And, there'll be times when we're just going to go on for 2 or 3 hours and just bullshit. I'll sing Neil Young and I'll do all that kind of, imitate Neil Young and all that crap too. So, anyway, hello, Danny. Danny Ambrosi is here. Ask Mayo. That's pretty basic. I don't know. Mean Mr. Mayo's Video Smackdown. There's your new name. What type of stereo receiver do you play your vinyl through? I have a Technics receiver, and I'm not happy with it. I bought it used, and it's, I don't know, it's just not. I have a Yamaha, an old Yamaha one that's much stronger, I think, and I think I'm going to go back to that. But in this damn apartment, like I say, I can't really play records here much, and when I do, I can't play them very loudly. Okay, Gold Rag tells us that we had on one of the live chats recently. John, he said we were debating what John sings in the song "Dig a Pony" or "I Dig a Pony," and he's telling us John does say, "quote roll a stony, Stoney." Some of us thought it was wrote a story. I wrote a story. Gold Rag thought it was something about Rolling Stones. Here it says, Gold Rag says, John says, roll a stony. This means that from his theory, the last time is still valid. Someone was saying that he says wrote a story, but he doesn't. I stand by it. Okay. I don't, to me, all I know from John himself, he said it was literally a nonsense song, he said. So to me it doesn't mean anything. Any bands that I hated back then but I like now or love now? The Who. I'm really glad I was able to come up with a name, because I'm thinking, gee, I can't think of anything. The Who. I used to hate The Who. Now I really like them quite a bit. And why that is, I'm not sure. When my younger sister used to listen to, the first time I heard The Who was, she would play the album that had Sister Disco on it. Is that Who Are You? The Who Are You album. She discovered The Who in the 70s. And, now I really like The Who as a great rock band. And I always hated that song, Won't Get Fooled Again. That was one of the worst. And I like to tell this story for posterity here, and save it, because I hated that song, Won't Get Fooled Again. It went on and on and on and on. And the only reason, I like it now, by the way, this is a good ending to the story. I like it now, but at the time, for many, many years, it went on too long. And I used to go to Joan Jett concerts, and Joan Jett likes The Who, because she's a big Who fan. And when I would go to these concerts, I'd be waiting. You'd have a thing where you'd go to the Joan Jett concert early. We'd all rush up to the stage. We'd get our spot, lean on the stage. We didn't even stay in our seats. The whole front gap between the stage and the front row, we'd all get there and wait. And you'd have to get there 2 hours early sometimes. So you'd be standing up there 2 hours, but it'd be worth it because you'd be right on the stage looking up at them, And through the speaker system would always be a lot of music being played to entertain you on the speakers, records. And the last song that was always played before Joan was ready to come out would be Won't Get Fooled Again. You'd hear that beginning. That echo, whatever that thing is. And I used to go, I hate this song. And I would stand there, because the song seemed like it was 20 minutes long, even though it wasn't. And you always knew you had to get, it wasn't bad enough that I hated this song, but the tension, excitement of waiting for it to end. And then finally it would end. And on those final chords or whatever, when it went, dan, 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 then the announcer would come on and go, lady, and you'd see, it'd be dark, and you would see the lights would go out, and you'd see Joan Jett and her band right in front of you in the dark, silhouetted, but you were right there. And he'd say, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and that was her, intro to go on, and the end of Won't Get Fooled Again. Anyway, now I like Won't Get Fooled Again. So, don't love it, but I kind of like it. I don't agree with you, Goldrag. I'm sorry. We have to agree to disagree on this. I don't believe that John was throwing a dig at the Rolling Stones in the song I Dig a Pony. I don't think it had anything to do with the Rolling Stones. I don't think he was aiming at the Rolling Stones in that. And it's a good theory. Very good theory. I haven't heard it in a while, though. I think you said that line about you can imitate everyone you know. Something about I roll a stony or something like that, where you could imitate everyone you know, as if the Stones are John's bashing the Stones for imitating them. I don't. That's a good theory. I just don't think it's true. So, what's my favorite Joan Jett album? That's really hard to say because I like a lot of them. I always go with, I guess, I Love Rock and Roll. You know, it's got the hit song and the Crimson and Clover on it. But I basically always say you can't go wrong with any of her 80s albums. My favorite albums by Joan Jett would be I Love Rock and Roll, Bad Reputation, the third one called Album with the yellow cover, and Up Your Alley from 1988. But they're all good, the 80s albums. Good music is nice. Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth is nice. Yeah, I'm reading comments by people. Did I ever get a pair of headphones for playing my records? Not yet. Like everything else, I put it off. I hope that I'm going to get to it eventually, and that I will do that. And I'm going to try it out. I don't like the idea of headphones, as I say, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't want to damage my hearing now that I'm getting older. Don't want to get ringing in the ears. I had ringing in the ears tinnitus for 18 days straight in 2014. Fortunately, it went away. But so I don't want that to happen. But I still I like to listen to music in the room, like surrounding the room you're in. But this might not be the place to do that. So I keep thinking I will get around to the headphones eventually one day, sometime. Let's see now where we're at here. I missed a bunch of things here. Connor asks, has he seen that I've taken down all my recent videos? Will they be back up? Yes, Connor, I'm going to put them back up. Just don't know when. And let's just say that I'm working on glitches and re-edits and smoothing out some rough edges. So those will be up any time that happens, and I eventually will get them back up. Yes, Miguel asked me, do I like Neil Young? I do like Neil Young, actually. And Neil Young is another artist I'm thinking of getting a little more heavily into than I have been. I love the Harvest album. Harvest is an album I like, almost the whole thing. And I want to tap into more Neil Young. I don't know about all of it, but do I like Supertramp? Well, the only thing really I'm familiar with from Supertramp is Breakfast in America, and I like a bunch of their songs from there. They got a lot of good songs, but I wouldn't call myself a Supertramp fan on the whole. Let's see here. Did I ever hear the album Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School by Warren Zevon? The only thing I know by Warren Zevon is Werewolves of London, and I really like that song, and I have the 45. Am I thinking of buying... Oh, hello to John Gossard, by the way. Am I thinking of buying the new 3 CD More of the Monkees box set coming in December? I didn't even know about it. If I buy it, it won't be in December. I don't know. I doubt it, but you never know. There's just so much stuff I've got backed up that I'm not listening to already. I got to get listened to. Do I use Signal? I don't know how to say the end. Signals YZ. It says, do I use hearing protection at concerts? No, I don't actually, but my feeling is I don't go to enough concerts to really worry about it. But famous last words, right? Uh, have I ever heard or seen a Brian Epstein autograph for sale? No, I never have. I don't think I've never seen a Brian Epstein autograph. No. Gold Rag asked me, do I still plan to make a video on the Steve Miller Band? Because I mentioned it on Caitlin Larkin's stream last time. Yeah, I want to do that. I like the Steve Miller Band. I don't know much of the very, very early stuff, but I love once you start getting into Fly Like an Eagle and the Joker and Book of Dreams. Is that the name of it? You know, those types of period. The period. I love that stuff. I think the Steve Miller Band. I always forget up the naming them. Whenever people ask me about my favorite bands, I always forget to mention the Steve Miller Band. So that's very important. Yeah. Oh, you were asking me why were my ears ringing back in 2014? I had 14 days of my ears ringing. Was it 18 days? It was 18 days, I think it was. I say 14. It was 18 days. I counted them. I don't know what it was. I really don't know what it was. Stress. I don't know. I went to a hearing doctor and everything, and I know people have that problem. I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it. But it went away, and that's what I'm happy about. Um, no, I have not heard My Dark Hour by the Steve Miller Band. That's earlier. I know 1969. It's got Paul McCartney on it. No, I haven't. That's something that I got to remember. Okay. John Alelo, how are you? He says, am I still notifying my subscribers when I do my live chats? I think I'm going to have to start because a lot of people don't know I'm here and they're not getting notifications. I don't really know how that works. Well, if you mean by that, am I going to put up a video? Hey, live chat with a date. That I'll do. I'm going to put up, such and such a date, live chat coming, and all that kind of stuff. I'll do that. But I don't know any other way. Do I ever listen to Zilch, a Monkeys podcast? Enrico Sanchez. No, I don't. Uh, I don't know if it's funny. There's a guy, Fred Velez. He doesn't by any chance do that podcast, does he? He's a big Monkeys fan. He wrote a book on the Monkeys. I met him a bunch of times at the Beatle Fests. So Fred Velez does it? Is he on that by himself? Because I know Freddie's a good guy. I met him a bunch of times. Let's see. I missed 40 minutes. Yeah, you didn't miss anything, Danny, in this chat because the first 20 minutes, which I'm going to cut out, by the way. Uh, you know, it was nothing. 25 minutes was nothing. It didn't start to swing into gear until about the 30-minute mark or so. So that's why I'm going to go a little longer. I said I only want these to be an hour. I'm going to go a little longer. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I intend on chopping off the first. When this becomes a video, I'm going to chop off the first half hour or so of it. So, anyway, what's my favorite Led Zeppelin record? If you mean album, it's Zeppelin 4. But I love In Through the Outdoor, which I think is criminally underrated. But I was in high school. It was a big album. All My Love was big. Fool in the Rain was big. It reminds me of senior year of high school. One of my high school albums. So I like it. Yeah, I also like Steve Miller Band's Wintertime, or Wintertime, whatever the proper name is of it. Yeah, Caitlin Larkin was a lot of fun. She had a live chat the other night. It was a lot of fun. And I like her. I like her playing the guitar. Yeah, I don't know why, Josh. A lot of people are saying they've always been notified before in the past that I've been on live, but for some reason, not this time, or I don't know what's going on. How come the stereo version of Help sounds great, but Rubber Soul is a mixed bag, panning wise? I don't know. Maybe only George Martin knows that answer. I don't like the hard panning. I don't like that. I never liked the panning. Vocals on one side, instruments on the other side. I've never liked that. So I really don't know. Hello to Tim Elliott. Um, do I like Queen? Eric, the bad boy of rock and roll, asked me. Well, as I always say, that stock answer. I like some of their songs. I like some of their hits. Uh, but I'm not a big Queen fan, no. But I do like a handful of their hits. What's on my Christmas list? Nothing except for the Beatles' Christmas messages right now. You know, I'm not looking forward to Christmas. Hopefully things get better. You know, as far as my personal things and that kind of stuff and finances and all that crap. Are the Beatles starting to sound dated to me? No, not really. Well, I mean, then I say, wait a minute. Well, I guess the early stuff is kind of dated. The early stuff, 63, 64, some of 5, yeah. And, no, the recording techniques don't sound dated to me. I don't care about the recording techniques. The songs themselves, some of them are dated, but that's fine. I'd rather listen to music from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s, 70s any day over anything in this horrible, horrible, horrible 21st century that they call entertainment. I don't know. I really don't know the Velvet Underground. I really don't. I know I shouldn't, but I know I don't like Lou Reed personally, so I have no interest in listening to the Velvet Underground. To tell you the truth, I know how great they are and they're big, but I'm not interested. If I happen to hear something, I'll give you an opinion on it. But the Beach Boys are being mentioned. The Beach Boys. What about the Beach Boys? Do I like the Beach Boys? Yeah, I like the Beach Boys. I love their hits. I love their earlier surfing sound. Don't like Pet Sounds. I think somebody asked me a Pet Sounds question somewhere. I missed it. So if someone, again, I also want to ask people, again, if I missed your question, try typing it again. Yeah, I agree with Tim Elliott. He says, the Beatles, Please Please Me, and She Loves You will sound fantastic anytime. And I agree with you on that. Cheers on that. Especially uh, She Loves You, which sounds as exciting today as I'm sure it must have back then. Is my tooth fixed? I've got a temporary filling in it. I got to go back later this month to get a permanent filling in it. I hope you're right, Josh Dillard, about 2018. Do I like or own any Alice Cooper albums? Well, I don't know a lot of Alice Cooper. I like School's Out, and I also, going back to the Friday the 13th films, I like a couple of songs of his that were featured in there. He's Back, The Man Behind the Mask, and also a song called Teenage Frankenstein that were both used in the Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Josh Dillard says, Don't Worry Baby by the Beach Boys is one of his all-time favorite songs. Mine too. I love it. Think it's fantastic. It is my all-time favorite Beach Boys song. I love the way Brian's voice sways in that song. I love that whole thing. It gives me goosebumps. It's fantastic. So, Russell Salka, nice to see you here. Russell says he would like to watch these videos later. I says, I'm very entertaining and informative. Thank you. What am I doing Thanksgiving? You'll be watching football, eating, and cleaning records. Well, my girlfriend and I are going to spend it alone. Unfortunately, her family lives far away. My family lives far away. So we're going to be spending it alone. But that's about it. And won't be watching football, though. I despise football. I think it's boring as hell. Sorry, I know you like it, but it's not my thing, Russell. Uh, so, yes, Enrico, yes, I know somebody on YouTube remixed the song She Loves You into True Stereo using demixing software. Hmm, that's interesting. Yeah, 2003 C-Pain wants to know, Connor, has there ever been a time when I felt like I hit a creative brick wall with making videos? Yeah, like writer's block. Yeah, recently I had that. In fact, I was wondering if people were going to give me ideas in one of the live chats. I actually went in and said, "Hey, anybody got any ideas? For me?" But now I'm getting more ideas, and I've been writing them down. Just a matter of getting to these things. Um, and as far as the record store videos go, that that usually presents itself. Whenever I go to the record store, I have my camera with me, and if anything happens of any interest, I try to get a lot of little segments together and then put them together. So, what is my least favorite Rolling Stones album? Well, I don't really know a lot of Rolling Stones albums by heart. I mean, it's easy to say something like "Dirty Work," but I never heard "Dirty Work." Um, I tell you the truth. As much as I like the Stones, and I do, I don't know their albums individually enough, so I can't really say. Wish I could give you a better answer than that. I know when I heard Emotional Rescue, I liked the song Emotional Rescue, and I like She's So Cold, I think, but I didn't like the rest of it. And Undercover of the Night, I think I only like a couple of songs off that, too. Um, Thunderstrucks, hello there. Do I think Give My Regards to Broad Street will eventually get a remaster? That one is hard to track down. Um, I hope it does get remastered. It needs it. It needs a Blu-ray. I don't think it's on Blu-ray. And I forget if it's widescreen or not. Do they just have it in a square, or do they have it widescreen? Because of I think it's widescreen, but it needs a remaster. Do I think it'll happen? I hope so. Okay, Russell, I got you. I remember I read your comments, everybody. I just Hi, Marv is here. Beetle Vinyl 85. Is there one Elvis song that you don't like, but everyone else does? Oh, I think all the Elvis songs that I like, I like this. I don't think there's any songs that I can think of songs I like that don't people don't. The other way around. Like I like Yoga Is as Yoga Does, just for fun song. But I really can't think. No, I can't think of any Elvis song that I like, but I don't like, but everyone else does. Yes, I did watch the Super Bowl halftime show with Paul McCartney in 2005. Well, I didn't watch. Yeah, I watched just the halftime part. Uh, I never heard Billy Joel do "Don't Worry, Baby." That's interesting. Marv is just joining us, so I want to just tell Marv real quickly. Thank you. By the way, Marv confirms that I forgot. The DVD of Broad Street, one side is full screen, the other is widescreen. Well, full screen, as they say. Actually, widescreen should be full screen. A square in the middle used to be full screen. Now it's not. But anyway, I want to tell Marv. Marv, I'm going to be going back to making Q&A videos that are more formal like this, more organized, not so much free for all craziness. And I'm going to put them up, probably chronicle them. I'm going to try to catalog them, archive most of them, as long as they're halfway interesting or decent, like this one seems to be. And I'm going to try to keep them no more than an hour or an hour and 10 minutes. This one right now, we're at about an hour and 10 minutes, but you're going to see afterwards, I'm going to chop off the first 20, 25 minutes when nobody was here. and it was boring, so I'm going to chop that off. So, but I also want to say, for Marv's benefit and for whoever else who wasn't here, that that doesn't mean I'm going to stop the crazy partying 2 hour, 3 hour bonanzas that we like to have, where I act like I'm imitating people and doing crazy stunts and things. I'm not going to stop that, but they probably won't be archived. I don't think. I don't know. No, I haven't heard Nickelback's cover of "In My Life," but I hear somebody doesn't like Nickelback. I think it's Marv. So, do I like Jimi Hendrix? Yes, I do like Jimi Hendrix. Again, the songs we really know. I'm good with the most popular songs, but I like Hendrix. I think it's a terrible waste to lose him. What do I think is going to be the McCartney archive that you would be shocked about its release? Well, here we go. I think I got a shock. Somebody told me, and apologies because I can't remember who it is now. My memory, there's a lot of people. Somebody told me, and I apologize, I can't remember who, told me that Mitch Axelrod, who does a Beatles podcast called Fab Four Free for All. I know who Mitch is. I met him. Says that he heard that it's official now. Somebody said, and Paul's management said that they're going to be coming out with Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway next. It's going to come. Those two are going to come. Now, it's not etched in stone. I don't know if this is a scoop that I'm giving you, but somebody told me that. I think it was Mitch Axelrod from the Fab Four Free for All kind of relayed this information, and apologies to Mitch if I'm getting it backwards. I don't really know, but I don't want to start false rumors, but I heard from somebody that it's on good authority that those two are coming now. Steel Wheels LP from the Stones. I love the song Mixed Emotions, and I really like Almost Hear You Sigh from there. And also there's another one. Isn't it Rockin' a Hard Place on that? I think there's 3 good songs. Do I own all of the Elvis movies? Yep, I own every single one of the Elvis movies, and eventually we'll eventually do videos talking about Elvis's movies whenever. Yes, do I think? Oh no, I like the song "Lies" by the Knickerbockers, but what do I? Yeah, oh yes. I like the song "Lies" by the Knickerbockers. Yes, but I didn't know. I thought you said they were going to sound like the Beatles. It is Beatlesque, I'll give you that, but I know it's not the Beatles when I hear it. But no, I never saw. Dan Poe wants to know, did I ever see a documentary called The Winged Beetle? No, I didn't. Never saw that. Alan C. Record says, yes, you're right. I don't know if it's what I'm right about, unless he means the McCartney news about the archives. If so, the person who asked me what do I think would be the most surprising, I'm surprised to see Wildlife being done. I actually am very surprised and relieved because I want to see unusual albums like that getting their due, Oh, about the Steel Wings song. Sorry. Yeah. See, that's what happens when people, just write you right. Because so many questions, I forget who's who. Okay. Yeah, I'll get to the. I will. I'll get to the Elvis movie reviews. I was talking to Ed from the King's Court. I saw him the other day, and I said, Ed, we got to do a video. Video together. Maybe in your basement. I told him he's got a nice basement, better than this place. And I said we really should. Maybe we should do Elvis movie reviews. Even though he's a big Elvis fan, Ed hasn't seen hardly any of the Elvis movies, believe it or not. So, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that or not. But do I consider my Shadows collection buyer's remorse because I don't mention them much? You're right, I don't mention them much, and I haven't been playing them. I played a bunch of them in the store, and I liked them. So based on that, I bought them, and I got them home, and I don't play them. But I will play them when I get myself together, get my headphones, or get everything the way I want it. I will play them. I don't regret buying them, But I did spend, I spent a considerable amount of money because I bought about however many there are in the video, 40 of them, 40 albums or something. What do I think of the Zombies? Well, I like their 3 songs. You know what I mean? We know what they are. She's Not There, Time of the Season, Tell Her No. That's all I know. I like them, but right now I don't want to speak too soon, Danny. But my tooth is feeling okay. I don't know. Now that I said that, thanks, pal. It's gonna start hurting me starting like after I get off here. But what musician would I like to have met, but he or she died? Well, John Lennon. John Lennon is the one, and Elvis too. Elvis, John Lennon. It would have been nice to meet Chuck Berry, but I had a lot of time to try. Uh, there you go. So now I'm noticing, like I say, I'm on here 78 minutes. I'm going to chop out about the first 20 minutes or so. So we're getting to the point where we'll do this a little longer, but I'm having fun now. It's going good. Oh, I'm so sorry. George, of course. I'm sorry. My God. Thank you, Marv. Now everybody's going to say, see, I knew you don't like George. I would have loved to have met George Harrison. How in the world did I forget George Harrison? Ah. Well, I guess I'll never live that down, because even though I always say George happens to be my least favorite Beatle, I still like George's music. I still love the guy. Well, George was always the invisible Beatle, right? The quiet Beatle. How in the world I forgot George, I don't know. But, didn't have enough time to meet George. Well, I did, but in the sense that George wasn't around in America. Well, he was around, I guess, but where was I going to meet him? The only real chance I had that I could really remember was in 1992 when he did the Bob Dylan tribute at Madison Square Garden. That was one time, but that was never going to happen. I don't think. But there was that time, and can't think of any other time, to be honest with you. Where'd they do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Was that in the city? I don't know. Folks, it's really got good. This started out kind of like dull at first, and nobody was here, and I really hate. I'm trying to keep these things. I said, I want to keep these at an hour or maybe an hour and 10 minutes, because if they're going to be videos, I want people to be able not to sit there in an hour. It's like watching an hour television. Okay, I think I'm reconnected. I hope. Anyway, thank you, Marv. I knew I was off. But anyway, I hate this. It's weird. Like, I feel like I really want to go on doing this for another hour or so. And people are just like starting here. But I'm back. I'm off. I'm back. So I don't know if I'm off right now or not, because my screen was just frozen. Now it's not. It's frozen. I can't tell. But anyway, it's a good time, considering that I'm losing the signal anyway or whatever. Sorry for those who just got here. I wish you were notified somehow. I'll try to make sure you guys are notified in the future. If there's any way that you guys can figure it out and let me know next time, if there's something I need to do or something you need to do, so that you can tell a setting I have to do or a setting you have to do. I don't know. Roy Halladay, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on Roy Halladay, Eric. Roy Halladay, Eric. Sorry about that. I don't know about Facebook. So far, no, it's no go for Facebook, Tim. But we'll see. But what I'm going to do is, I was thinking of that too. Johnny Stocks says, have a general start time. Like, You know, maybe there's certain days you do it. You know, pick a day and a time. I may do that. And the worst case scenario, folks, what I will do is, you know, I will make a little video on my channel saying I'm going to do a chat such and such a time, such a day, give you a heads up. So thank you, everybody. I hope you had a good time with this, and I'm going to try to archive most of this, and I'll probably cut some of the beginning out where nothing was really happening. Anyway, take care, everybody. See you next time.